I legitimately have no idea on this one. There's a lot of characters that all look all right and probably make sense to do something rules-wise, but I'm too dumb to work that out. Hey, Christian, after you've inevitably corrected my sister's take, do you want to answer this one for me as well? Cheers.
So I'm helping me mate Paul. The idea of his video is he's not looking at the best and then looking at the worst models. They are the ones that are best in one way but the worst in another, like the elements of the lore, the tabletop, and the model itself. Generally, I stopped caring about lore once the old world blew up. It changes you as a person to see your world die, so you just make up your own lore. I will be looking at the models compared to their rules to do what I think Paul is doing.
If you still don't really understand what the hell I'm talking about, then fair.
I never quite know what Paul is doing, I just try and funnel his outbursts in our podcast. So these are models that are cool but have terrible rules, or have great rules but terrible models. It is January as I record this, so the Genestealer Cult are going to go first. The best Genestealer Cult unit, which has good rules and great models, are the Acolytes, or the Metamorphs, or the Acolytes. They're very easy to build, very fun to build, there's loads of options, loads of heads, and they have a big role in the lore. You want Acolytes in your army, Acolytes of either kind. And you can't make the third generation of hybrids if you don't have the first and second generation of hybrids. They're cool. That's not what Paul's video is about. So the optional best model but terrible rules would be the Kellamorph. The rules are not that good. The pistol is fine. He has an ability so that if an enemy moves within 9 inches, he can shoot at them and then move away. But because he has lone operative, the enemy cannot shoot him if they're within 12. But if they move within 9 and a bit, so not within 9, but still within 12, he gets shot and dies very quickly. He doesn't have infiltrate, he doesn't have scout, he doesn't have a lot of things that many other characters have. So we don't really take the Kellamorph right now. The model, though, is really cool. If you like gunslingers, if you like the idea of a hero of the revolution. It lacks a cowboy hat. Like the Mandela effect, people imagine the model as a cowboy hat. There is no cowboy hat. The cowboy hat is something you have to add on yourself. So that's a good choice. Great model, terrible rules. The one I was thinking of more generally was the Magos. The Magos is super important in the lore. They are the spiritual leader of the whole cult. The one in charge below the Patriarch. But they're just so bad on the table. The special rules they have are no psychic attacks, no psychic powers at range. Their only range attack is an auto pistol. And their psychic ability lets them slightly inconvenience an enemy with the risk of blowing up. And we can undo Battle Shock, which is sometimes useful. Sometimes. But we know that Battle Shock rarely has any effect on the game. But the models, either the male form or the female form, are very, very nice. We have the distinct hood, we have the model from the artwork from the 90s, and we could go back and look at the 90s models, which are perfectly fine. I like the guy casting an outstretched hand, doing a psychic attack, which of course we can't do in the rules, and I like the lady with the big crest, which also is a bodice. I can see why people would want to get into the Genestealer Cult. You gotta get in there! Of course, the worst model is the Clamavus. The rules are not amazing for 50 points. We can slightly deny Deep Strike. But we are the ones doing the Deep Strike. We usually don't need it, and we have Neophytes, many Neophytes that can spread out for a similar number of points, and they can deny Deep Strike just by existing. And they can do other things. The concept of a battle DJ does not work in model, in lore, or on the table. People are not going to get down with the beat in the middle of a fight. Propaganda and hacking should exist for a resistance movement, but they shouldn't be in the field of combat. The model is fine, but as a battle DJ, they have a mini turntable attached to one arm. I believe the designers were having to overthink getting a battle DJ that would work and can be a DJ. Okay, the Battle Sisters. I am not going to correct Paul on his sister's take.
How do they work? Where do they come from? Where do the legs go?
Where do they come from? I don't know. As I have said many times before, where are the legs of the Paragon Warsuit pilots? They don't fit within the legs of the suit. And if you want to have super elite Celestians, who are, part of either Battle Sister Squads, apparently, according to the new lore that we see in the Kill Team box, or their bodyguards like the Sacrosancts, or they're hunting people as Insidiants, it's more useful to have legs. So they're not cutting off the legs because they can't make better warsuits. Where are the legs? Also, how do shoulders work? Or where are the shoulders? Or if the shoulders are in the right place, how long are these women's necks? We need to start checking out Paragon Warsuit pilots for being Genestealer cultists, with their lower arms and unusual neck and head structures. So the models are not great, but the unit is very good on the table in the Champions of Faith detachment. Then they're righteous. Then they can do a lot more things with stratagems and abilities, and they kill vehicles pretty well, especially if you give them all multi-melters. Another way of making them really good, the main way of making them really good, is to attach Morven Val, and then they get full rerolls to hit and full rerolls to wound. That, coupled with the +1 to hit and wound against vehicles and monsters, means that you can actually cause some damage to vehicles and monsters, which is something the Adeptus Sororitas struggle with a lot this edition. But there are ways around it. For the Space Marines, Paul suggested the Hammerfall Bunker as the best-worst model. But there is another unit, a Deathwatch unit that fits much better. The Deathwatch best model, but with terrible rules, is the Corvus Blackstar. That's a cool fighter. That is also a transport, and there's some very nice art of Marines jumping out of it. I don't know exactly how slow it would be going to make sure they don't hit the door on the way out, or have a flyer go into the back of their head. This is why you jump out the back or the side of a plane rather than out the front, but never mind. Pretty cool concept. And it does a lot of things. It's a helicopter gunship, it's a transport, it can shoot down enemy planes. It's adaptable in lore, and it's a cool model. It's as adaptable as the golden maple brushes. There is now a replaceable brush head brush. It doesn't take up as much space, it comes with 4 brush heads of different sizes for your painting needs, and that is already available at a discount, and all things from Golden Maple are cheaper by using the link and discount code in the description. I don't know what will happen if you stack the current 24% off with another 20% off. See what number comes out. Have a go, see what happens. Maybe it will be as cool as putting twin assault cannons on a stealth flyer fighter transport and making it go brrrr. But flyers in 10th edition of 40k are not good. This flyer is one of the better ones. Almost usable in the game. Arguably usable. It is a transport that can move fast, but if you put it in hover mode to where you want the unit to disembark, then they can't move or charge. Charging is often what we want the Deathwatch to do. Or it could transport a Fortis or Decimus kill team. They shoot pretty well. It is mildly difficult to take down with toughness of 10, 14 wounds, and stealth, but also, as a flyer, like everything on the board can see it and shoot it. The weapons are decent, but perhaps not for 180 points. And the transport aspect can be replaced, at least in Imperial Agents, with a Rhino. And the Space Marine Deathwatch have the Black Spear Task Force with teleportation to move around. There is no especially good use for it, it just looks cool. The Imperial Agents good model with weak rules is also the Corvus Blackstar. They share the same Corvus Blackstar. Oh, and Paul skipped over Imperial Agents because ha 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 ha, it's funny to pretend they're not an army and don't have a codex, but they do. Ha ha. Who's laughing now? It's me, the person that did really well at a tournament with Imperial Agents and should not have done that well. But a good unit with good rules, but bad model, is the Calidus Assassin. We're not mid-polymorph, we're not in a stealthy pose. We are on the biggest tactical rock you ever did see, with 33% of the model's height coming from the hair. On the table, they're very useful as an infiltrator. They can complete missions in the first few turns. They can leave the board if they get threatened, then come back somewhere else, complete more missions. And if the enemy was close to them, like they were hiding behind a wall, we have the Aura of Deceit to confuse and distract them. Good rules, not an amazing model. Or if you want a really, really not great model, There's Inquisitor Cortias. Him. Yeah. I like the old model. That was pretty nice. The new model is more Age of Sigmar looking, but it needs a front tabard. This is the wrong trousers, but golden. On the table, he has a big hammer, and if the enemy generates a command point from something, you might be able to also generate a command point. Okay, those are okay rules. Bad model, average rules. So those are my additions, corrections, improvements to Paul's video. If you want to see the two of us but on screen together, we do have a whole podcast we do every month. Almost every month. Not this month. Blood Bold will return in March. Enjoy the playlist of podcast videos and have a great day of 40k.